Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Brush. It's episode 4. If you haven't watched or tuned in before, it's a series where I invite on painters and decorators from across the UK and Ireland to have a conversation, talk about our day and daily, talk about the industry and get to know a little bit more about the person behind the brush. And this week it is Gary Marsh. So Gary Marsh is based in Sunderland and owns Gary Marsh Quality Decorators. He's an absolute powerhouse within the industry, as far as I can see. He is an absolute master craftsman. And what attracted me to Gary was his level of professionalism. And it's great to see when somebody loves their craft as much as I believe I love mine. And what keeps it exciting and is seeing others, not just Gary, but others in our industry, um, shine an awesome light on it. And what's great about the industry. But for me, it's getting the chance to speak to Gary and learn a bit more about him, about his journey, and what the future of the paint and decorating industry, I suppose, looks like in Gary's eyes. So, if you are a painter and decorator, this is all about bringing the industry together. It's the community of painters and decorators having a place, I believe, weekly to catch up, have the crack, and keep it real, raw, and relatable. So, without further ado, I will see if Gary's ready to rock and roll. First of all, I'm Gerard, and I own and operate Paintworks and Paintworks NI and Paintworks Academy. If you don't know me, so bear with me. Let's get the main man on. Evening, Gary.
All right.
How are
Right, thanks for having us.
No, thank you for taking the time to join me and have the crack. I was laughing. We have never met. We've
No.
only just spoke about once yesterday, I think, and about 45 minutes ago, very briefly. It's like a it's like Tinder. It's like, will you come and meet me and have a chat? I don't know what Tinder is, but
See, I know nothing about it.
but listen, Gary, why don't you take the opportunity to introduce yourself and tell everybody who Gary Marsh is?
Yeah, obviously I'm Gary Marsh of Gary Marsh Quality Decorators. I've been in the trade since I was 16, so that's probably 38 years now. Been self-employed 30 years this year, so it's my celebratory year, so to speak. And like I say, I've only really worked for one firm before I went self-employed. I think I was, about 9 years I worked for that firm, learnt my trade. I was lucky enough to be brought up on the private side of the company, so we're doing like domestic work and things like that. And I was lucky to be put with like an old school decorator with a shirt and tie and all that.
Brilliant.
So that was, and he taught us, he brought us into things like wallpaper and things, just bit by bit and all that. So I just learnt my trade under him, really. I was very, very lucky because the other side of the firm was like council repaints and things where they just bashed the paint on. Well, I was brought up on the private side. I was quite lucky, really. And like I say, for 30 years now, I think I started employing my first employees 2 years in, and I've always had normally about 2 employees working right through the years. And I hit 3 once, but I think having 2 employees is just a happy little team,
Sweet
if you know
spot.
what I mean. Aye.
When did you know, Gary? I suppose it's different for everybody, but when did you know that the paint and decorating trade, the industry, how did it appeal to you? What made you say, do you know what, I'm gonna go for it here? This is it.
I actually fell into it by accident. When I left school, I had full intentions of going to catering college because I had the vision of being a hotel manager. But you had to do catering first before you went into hotel management. I think it's because my parents had a pub at the time and I wanted to stay in that industry. So I think during the summer holidays, my parents got us all a chef's uniform and things. And about 2 weeks before I started college, I bottled it. um,
Do you know what's really messed up? It's really strange. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a hotel manager. I
uh-huh.
went to a town local to me called Bangor, and I did an AVC in hospitality and catering, and I think it lasted about 9 months. So that is really strange.
Yeah.
We both ended up painting decorators.
So I just went down the careers office and said I want something in the construction industry, and they said, "Oh, there's a local firm after a apprentice decorator." So I went on with them. It was the old YTS CITB scheme, where you do like block release at college, then you go on site for a few months, then back to college for a few months, and I think it was about 3 years all in all, like apprenticeship, doing that backwards and forwards. So you got your old city and guilds, and I think I did a year's advanced craft as well. And then obviously I was a fully formed decorator after about 3 or 4 years.
Ready to go, ready to go.
So
I
again,
think
it
it's
wasn't planned; it happened.
no, but I think it's all changed now. Like even over here in Northern Ireland, I mean, they closed the last remaining college. I think
Oh,
it was a couple of years ago, and now it has pretty much become more privatized.
uh-huh,
Um, there's a couple of really good places locally that are doing great work and trying to bring people into the industry here. There's Craft NI and there's Workforce, and I actually called up to see them about a year and a half ago just to meet the
uh-huh,
apprentices coming into the industry and just to get some feedback to see, is there any, I just want to get up and see their sort of mindset and what
uh-huh.
was getting them into the trade as well. And they were all 18, 19, and they were the best bunch of lads. There was no girls
Mhm.
or ladies there. Um, but they were keen, they were
Yeah,
excited, and
that's
I
why.
loved that.
If they're keen, that's good, because when I look back to when I was at college, you had like some of the councils came in, and they were just there because they had to be, not because they wanted to be. And I think that's
Uh,
the big difference, if somebody's keen or not keen.
yeah, 100%. I think you know very quickly if it's for you or if it's
Oh,
not. And I
uh-huh,
and I think the biggest thing for me is even recently in the new year I started a guy, Adam, real nice guy. He was in his 30s, really wanted to learn the trade.
mhm.
And I said, look, Adam, this is what you can expect. And I said, you'll know very quickly if it's for you or not,
Yeah,
but we'll get the head down. I have like a structure of learning, etc. And we'll go through the motions. And 4 weeks in, Adam said to me, George, you know what? It's not for me.
no, it's
And
just
I went,
knew
look,
straight away.
I love it. I love the fact that um, people I don't think understand the craft that goes into it.
Mhm.
Um, the amount of prep, the
Oh,
amount. It's
yeah,
not even just a painting. It's everything. It's like a big soup. It's all these ingredients to create the
yeah,
soup.
bits and
It's
pieces
not
from all
just
over.
it's not just the painting. Um, so I think, yeah, I think for me, it's concerning that there's not as many young people or any people, I believe, coming into the industry, and it's
It's a shame.
concerning.
It's a shame, because obviously I think all trades at the minute, there's a down. Obviously everybody's getting old and there's not enough young people coming through. And I keep telling people and who I know and things like that, in 10 years' time, anybody who's coming through now are going to be like making some prime money,
Yeah,
because there'd be just a few of these. You can probably charge a premium to do what you're doing, because there isn't enough of people about. So you'll be like the ones where you're making good money, so to speak. You know what I mean?
absolutely. And I think even like I have two nephews, and I was hoping I had Archie was in doing a work experience with me for a week, and
Uh-huh.
I had him. We were refinishing the kitchen, And I showed him all the motions, the cleaning, masking, sanding, and I said, "Look,
Yeah.
once we go back to workshop, you've worked really well." I mean, he was absolutely fantastic. And then, I said, "Look, I'll get you on the gun. We'll get you spraying some doors." And he was keen. And I thought, you know
Uh-huh.
what? If I can get
This is the one.
Archie, I could work all day with him because, um, we had a really good few days. And then, Uncle G says, "I'm gonna go be a spark," and I just went. Another one because I have a nephew, Colin, and he's now an electrician, and he
Yeah.
worked for me as well when he was a young kid. And we had a big sanding day on a new build, and I left him to it, and one of my guys, I think it was Dara at the time, and after that day, he never came back. That
Uh,
was it.
I think what they've got to find is it's even after a few weeks, it takes longer than that to get into it. I mean, don't get us wrong, when I first started, I hated it. I mean, I think I was stuck in a joiner's yard priming skirting boards for 6 months.
Oh my
You know,
god.
not nutting them and priming them. It was backbreaking work because everything was like low down. There was no mini rollers back then. Everything was done by brush.
Three
It
inch.
was, yeah. I was like, oh, it was a nightmare. But when I look back, it obviously it learned you because even though you're just brushing skirting boards, it was giving you the technique how to hold the brush, how much paint to apply. Even
Yeah.
though it was like a crap job, it was teaching you things, even just something simple.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just think it's mad because I run the academy, Paintworks NI Academy. Um it's like a part-time hobby for me because obviously
Uh-huh.
I'm on the tools still myself, and
Yeah.
I book and schedule in. Like I have a great team who are out doing the work in their jobs, and then I get to do my own work, and again I book in all the courses, etc. But
So how many times a week do you do the academy?
so, like next week, I'm in the academy all week. I've got two
All right.
guys coming up from Dublin, a course this weekend, and then I've been working all this week, and then, um, but what I was moving on to was there's nobody under 30.
Hmm.
Like it's all decorators, painters coming in to upskill, and I think that's awesome. And I love it because I get to network and meet other painters. And do
Yeah.
you know what? It's usually the conversations you have. But I suppose it's doing the courses. I'm like, wow, there's no one coming in, and whenever I see a young lad or girl over here going out on their own, I'm just like, that's amazing, class, and I want to
Hmm.
encourage it. But what, for me, it's how do we, and I think you often see all the posts and the pictures and the videos of the spraying, the wallpaper, and everyone thinks it's great fun and that's easy. And then, and I know this, and anyone that's watching that's done the course with me, they come in to go, "Jesus, there's a bit more to this spraying, or there's a bit more to this kitchen refinishing." And I'm like, well, that's it. And it's just, I suppose, again, just keeping it real and showcasing, this is amazing, but
Uh-huh.
it takes time, you
Yeah.
know?
It's like everything. The more you do something, the better you get at it. It's
Yeah.
you know what I
And
mean?
it's the lessons. I think that's what makes you, you know?
Almost definitely. Like I say, I've done a couple of courses and things, and I did a spraying course a few years ago, and was like thinking, "Oh, it'll be easy." It's not. It's you got to learn the basics first before you even actually start spraying. I think we spent nearly half a day in the classroom before we even touched a gun.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
That's right. Because Danielle, only recently there, a couple of months ago, a guy, Eddie, real nice guy, came in to do a PVC course. And at the time, it was a 1 day course. And I said to Eddie, I said, Eddie, what background? You painter, decorator? Have you done any spraying? He says, Gerard, I'm not a painter, decorator, and I've never sprayed before in my life. And I just went, I've got my work cut out for me here.
uh,
It was PVC spraying, but that's when I realized, 1 day wasn't enough because by the time you clean, mask, you name it,
yeah,
and I actually got him back for a second day, because when I knew he was walking out, he was happy, but I wasn't,
nah, yeah,
and I knew he just needed to dial in, gun setup, mixing and things like that there because we'd spent that much time on the practical side of things. it was like, no, we just need to fine tune this and make sure he's 100%. But like
Uh-huh.
even like everything, you're constantly learning. But when it comes to yourself, did you say you have two employees? You know, what size of
Yeah,
team do you have?
yeah, just
Um,
two employees, Dave and Lewis, again, early 30s, and the two good lads. They're spot on, really. The customers love them. I think Lewis is 32 and Dave's 37. They've come from like a previous firm, like a bigger firm,
yeah.
and I think they really like working for a small company, because before they were just on big jobs where they're just basically doing hospitals and schools and things like that, where there's no like, you don't
Lash
need.
and paint on, Gary.
Yeah,
Lash and
basically, yeah.
paint on.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah,
Do you know?
when
Yeah,
so they enjoy being on private, because most of my work's private and residential, so that they
yeah,
love all that.
yeah. I think I think it's nice. I mean, I like it. We're a family-run business. Danielle, my wife, is very much. I call Danielle the boss. You know, Danielle's the operator. I get to go out and color in essentially. But um, when it comes to, I think it's nice when you can enjoy working with your team and when
Yeah.
everyone has the common goal, which is let's have a great day, let's deliver a great job,
Hmm.
and you know yourself, there's nothing better when the customer turns around at the end of the job and goes, "That's amazing, guys. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it." You know?
Yeah. Plus, I like the feedback I get off my customers about the lads as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're always saying they're polite, courteous. Because at the end of the day, you don't want somebody who's going to go in somebody's house and be all leery and things like, you know what I mean. You want respect in somebody's house. You got respected. You
Yeah,
know.
absolutely, absolutely. It's just like being having someone in your own house. You know, it's like as I constantly say, it's more than just painting. It's showing up on time. It's leaving the
The,
place tidy. You
the big
know,
thing's trust. Trust's a big thing
trust
as well.
trust is huge, and so, you know, we often get customers will go like, "Sure, there's the keys." See you in a couple of weeks for away on holiday, and you're like, "Happy days," you know.
Yeah.
This is great, but also it's nice to have that sort of trust with your
Yeah.
customers where they're saying, you know, where you're able to do that, and then when they do come home, it's just this complete transformation.
Hmm.
But for you, what is your favorite part of the trade?
Um, personally, I like the wallpaper side of it. But I think it's just turning like a shabby room with a total mess into like something pristine. Again, like you said, that the customer loves. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But I like all aspects of decorating. I mean, ours is mainly, like I say, the residential and, like people's
yeah,
houses and things where it's just, emulsion and decorating and wallpapering as well. But it's still, at the minute, wallpapering wise, people are still just doing feature walls. There's very few rooms you're doing full rooms at the minute. You get occasional ones, but I really enjoy wallpapering. It's just like I say, you don't do as much as you used to years ago, because I think people went a bit minimalistic a few
yeah.
years back, and this I slowly come back into it.
Gray.
But great, everything's great.
Gray, cornforth
Yeah,
white,
yeah.
everything gray, and it's gray became the magnolia.
Oh, that's
Uh,
boring.
but wallpapering is very much my favorite thing to do, and I actually love nothing more than working alongside another paper hanger and
Uh,
just enjoying the craft. And it's something really I find it therapeutic.
I think it's
Most of the
because,
time,
yeah, I think it's because you got to think more.
yeah,
You got to plan more and things like that. I've done a few jobs recently where you probably spend an hour just thinking, right, if I do this, do that, and go there, that'll end up there, and hopefully that'll end up there. You got to plan all that out before you even start
that was
pasting
me
the first length.
a few weeks ago. I was wallpapering a ceiling, and normally it's a textured paper, it's a plain paper.
Yeah.
You know, usually it's get your plumb line where you go. But this here was it was called hiding hairs or hairs and hidings, and there was all these wee hairs. And
Uh,
of course, I think I spent 2 and a bit hours just planning out that ceiling
yeah.
and making sure because it was all running off here, and I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure the customer wanted all the hair's faces staring down at
That's it.
her.
Because when you think you got to try and visualize a person lying in
Yeah,
bed and
that's
like
right.
look, it's like when you do a toilet or a cloakroom, as posh people call them. Where I sometimes I sit in the toilet and think, right, what they're going to see there and there.
Yeah, yeah. And
Just daft little things
honestly,
like that.
it took 2.5 hours or whatever it was. But see, once it, I think I find it makes it so much easier because right, let's go, and
Yeah,
it turned out amazing. But
yeah,
what would you say? A lot of people say to me, Jared, what would you recommend I learn first to upskill, wallpapering or spraying? And I actually find myself saying, if you enjoy it, wallpapering,
yeah.
because I think there's a serious shortage
Big
of
time. Yeah.
quality paper hangers.
Uh,
And I think I used to say that, I'm sure you've heard it before, but I always used to say, when I couldn't wallpaper, nobody likes it. It's a waste of time. I don't enjoy it. I did it. I used to make all the excuses. But then once I started to learn and get into it, I actually found I really enjoyed it. And it was nice to
mhm.
just slow down and enjoy the process. I don't know
Yeah,
if you feel the
yeah. Because
same.
you can't rush paper hanging, even
No,
though some people do. I get lots of people online saying, "God, you're slow and all this," but it's not. It's not about being fast. Paper
no.
hanging. It's about getting the job right.
I
Because
call it
some of
heart
these,
surgery.
some of these wallpapers, like, I mean, some of them are like £100 a meter. I mean, I
Oh,
put one on a few years ago. I'm sure it was £230 a meter. It's you can't like just rush things like that. It's got to be a
I did
certain pace to
a
get it right.
380 pound Arte. It
Christ.
was a 3D fabric. It was stunning, and it was only afterwards when the customer said, "Oh, I don't know how you did that," and I went, "What do you mean?" She goes like, "What if you made a mistake?" And I says, "I know, but I just look at it. It's just wallpaper."
Yeah, I'm
And she goes,
exactly
"I
the
know,
same.
but," she goes, "I know, but it's 300 pound a meter, Jared." And I went, "It was what?" I went, 380 pound a
uh,
meter, and I couldn't believe it. Would I
a
pay
lot,
for it? No.
yeah,
Was it awesome? Yes.
a lot of people say to me, "Do you know get like worried about hanging these expensive papers?" And like you said, I treat all wallpapers the same
Yeah.
because if you start overthinking it, that's when mistakes will happen.
100%. And like I said to you just before we come on earlier on, wallpaper I find is like people. You just don't know what you're getting.
Oh,
I suppose it's like a box of chocolates sort of idea, but you do until you get that first length up. You
uh,
don't know what you're up against. And I think you were
I've
saying
done, yeah.
yourself, you were up against it this week.
Oh, yeah. This week there was a piece of paper. Morrison Co. Like I said it earlier, I'd previously done Morrison Co. but like paste the wall, went in a dream, no bother at
Uh,
all. This one, paste the paper, it tore easy. You just knocked it and it took the top of the pattern off. It seemed to, as well, when you pasted it, it didn't expand the same all the way down. So when you're going down, even on shorter lengths, the pattern would kick out. It
yeah,
was Oh, it was
yeah.
just what could have been like a nice, easy 1.5 days was a very hard 2 days.
And you know what? I suppose you probably know that anyway. You sort of think, I think I know now. Like I said, you just don't know what you're gonna get, and
No.
sometimes it does go up a dream, and sometimes you're just speeds of sweat.
Oh, uh-huh.
You've went through about 3 packets of Alpha blades.
Oh,
You
this
know,
this this job here, I'm sure. Do you know the big thick packs of offers you buy about pack
uh-huh.
of 50?
Oh
I've been
yeah,
through half a packet of them on 10 rolls. That's like you've got like 7 or 8 blades in each blade,
uh-huh.
haven't you? Because I
Oh,
basically every cut I was snapping, cut, snap,
that's
cut,
right.
snap.
Oh.
I
And
would
the
just snag.
customer doesn't see it. They don't see it. They normally, "Oh, is that all you get done today?" Or maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. You sometimes thinking, I don't. But in terms of, I've only got the one wall done there in an afternoon. But you
Uh,
just want it to be right. You just take your
yeah.
time.
Yeah, what gets me sometimes with it though is the customer loves it, and I'm thinking that could have been better. It's just the way I am. It's okay, standing it looks great, but there's certain things like where you put your paper the perfect join, but you can't do anything about it. But I can still see it, or I know it's there.
Yeah.
It's just the way the paper is. Some papers you can't do anything about it. It's buttered perfectly, but I can see it, and just things like that. I come away from a job not being 100% satisfied, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. But what would you say? I think there's a lot of, I'd say there's a lot of decorators, paper hangers, maybe new into maybe learning. And as I say, if you've done your best, if
Yeah.
you've done everything you can, you've prepped correctly, you've got good sharp blades, you've buttered it up nice.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's it. You can't do anymore, and you can actually
Uh-huh.
overwork it and then
Oh
damage
yeah,
it.
that's yeah. Uh-huh.
You know,
Most definitely, especially if you like rolling the seams too much and things like that. Like
um,
you get shiny edges and all sorts like that.
100%. But again, I find myself, checking it again, checking, and then you're like, and you're not happy, but yet when you come back the next day, it generally it looks 100%. The customer's
Yeah,
happy, but as you
yeah,
say, it's you that it's a you problem,
yeah.
and
Me and the lads was just talking about that the other day. Well, I don't know. Lately, we're all getting a bit too finicky. It's like, oh, I'll just go and fill that again. Or I'll maybe just go over that again. It's a good way to be, but you
yeah.
got to like call it a time up at some point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think even with I have the big tripod LED lights, the big DeWalt, and even today, I mean, this house, I put up a photo of the skirting on it on TikTok the other day, and I mean, it's character building job, put it that way, and shone the light on it, filled it all, and I was just about to do the final coat, and I just seen this wee sort of nick in the wall, and I was like, I have to fill that. And of
Uh,
course, you fill it, and then you think, right, I'll go get on with that, and then I sanded it, and then I looked up about to do the final coat in the was it the woodwork or something like that, and again a wee nick, I better fill that because I can't not,
mhm,
and then you do it, and you're like, the customer maybe spots it, or you're walking out the door and you see it and you're just like, "Ugh, should have just filled it." But
mhm.
I mean, you've lit it up. I don't know whether it's my eyesight or what
Uh,
it is.
but the lads on a job last week, I think it was, and there was a bad crack, so they filled it, put a first coat on, filled it again, then touched it up and filled it again. Because why are you doing all this filling? It's all right. It's like no, it's got to be right. Sometimes the customer's like, oh, just it's all right,
Just
but it's us. We
just
want
get it
that.
on.
Yeah.
So tell me, you have the Wallpaper Wizard social media. You have Gary Marsh's
Yeah, my business. Do
quality.
you looks like the business one? Yeah,
You've various accounts. How do you keep up?
too many.
How do you
I don't
how
know.
do you find the time to because I know I struggle. I am new to it in general. My wife,
Uh-huh.
usually my wife runs Paintworks NI, all the accounts. I literally only have my TikTok account and my
Yeah.
Paintworks Academy account. But how do you do it?
I don't know really. Like I say, 'cause I run the business myself and I do all the admin myself. I see I'm on the tools 4 or 5 days a week, mainly 4 now because I try and do admin and I do BNI on a Friday morning. But the social side of things, I probably have got too many because I just started with the Dulux Select account where it was just my business, just showcasing our work. And then obviously I thought, I'll just start one just for wallpaper, and that's where the Wallpaper Wizard UK came in. Then I think it was just over a year ago I started Diary of a Decorator, just to try
Brilliant.
and. But that's really took off that one. It's like just the in-depth to like where a decorator or a tradesperson, the day-to-day things of like the admin and things like that. Then I started doing little tutorials, and they've gone like really well. And like I say, them like pages on Instagram and Facebook, and I think I've got TikTok as well. They've like shot up compared to me. Once I've had maybe 10, 15 years, that
Yeah.
one's went through the roof.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's just people like your style? Because I think I would hear a lot of talking to different decorators, and I say to them, do you have a social media? And they'll say, no, 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 it's a load of nonsense.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't know what I'm doing, and sure, he would want to see my work, but I think it is now the way the industry is now. It's
Uh-huh.
literally a shop window.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for anybody. It's not too late. Just because somebody else has an account doesn't mean you
No.
shouldn't have one. What's your opinion on that, and what would you tell anybody that's maybe in the
Um,
trade?
I think you've got to have social media. Because I've always said, you need social media, because if somebody does a Google search, the more things you have out there, the more you're seen.
That's
So
right.
I've got a website, I've got various social media accounts. Because of that, if somebody puts a certain search in, chances are I'll pop up on the first page, either my Instagram or my website, even though I
Yeah.
don't do SEO or anything on my
No.
website, because I've got other things connected to it.
Yeah.
It'll pop up pretty high and things like that. Plus, as well, like I say, I remember years ago, before I did like Instagram and things, when I used to go and price a job, I used to take a little book of photographs of work we've done. That was my portfolio back in the day. I think it's in the garage somewhere, I'm sure.
Awesome.
I have to try and dig it out. And I used to take that on the job, and like, just while I'm taking some notes, just look at that. Whenever you can just like send a link to the
Yeah.
customer and say, "Oh, that's me work on social media," or "That's my website." It's so easy now. Things have changed really quickly as well. Because like you say, you can get things that way. Plus, as well, you can. I think I say, on about like the Diary of a Decorator, the tutorial thing. So I'm getting a lot of young people, which we were talking about earlier, which we want, just saying, "Oh, thanks for that, Gary." Just doing things a certain way, like wallpaper around a reveal or something like that. They think, "Oh, that's how you do it," and
Yeah.
it's nice thing somebody younger is watching and learning. Uh, just unfortunate that the older decorators say, "Oh, we're doing that way. I would have did it a different way," and
But I think that is the beauty of it. I think, there's loads of different ways, and it's about doing it well and doing it for your customer that they
uh-huh.
appreciate it and they're happy and you get
Yeah,
paid. And ultimately, we're building relationships with our customers. It's not a
that's it.
get it on and get the money and run. It's
Yeah,
about having those conversations and getting to know, like, you will know even better than me. My customers, when I came back from New Zealand, um we started up Paintworks NI. I know the customers I was doing work for, their kids were young, and now they're
hmm that's
full-time jobs.
yeah,
They've went out in and out of uni. They've driving, and you're just like, what happened?
yeah.
Where did
I see.
that time go?
I've
And
got
you're like,
customers that have done work for like 30 years.
yeah,
It's, let's see,
and
I've seen
it's
the game. You
uh,
pass down the, do you do work for the children eventually as well?
and do you still, apart from how the power of social media in terms of um attracting new customers, but I think we sometimes forget how powerful it is our returning customers and
Oh
looking
yeah, yeah.
after them and making
Uh,
sure that we are doing our best, because that is it's awesome to have that portfolio now of
yeah.
returning customers.
I've always made a point of looking after my existing customers.
Yeah,
What I do is, every so often I'll drop my newsletter and things like that, just to keep them in the loop and things,
excellent.
just to keep them close, so to speak. More so, I mean, I always drop this tip when decorators say, "Oh, I've got no work on things." I said, "Wait, first, do you have a database of just an email list of all your customers?
That's
If you
right.
have, just send them a newsletter, maybe in the November, for when you're going to be quiet in the January, just wishing them a happy Christmas, and guarantee you'll get some like feedback and some work off it." It's the simplest thing.
Let me just write that
Uh,
down, Gary.
no, honest, it works every time.
No,
Every time I think it's going to be a slow January, February, I'll do an email, like a little newsletter back in November, just saying, "Hope you have a great Christmas and hope to see you in the new year." And I can guarantee I'll get at least 2 leads off that, and it costs nothing,
but even
apart from a
at
little bit of
that,
your time.
even if you're only getting two, it'll be well received. And I
Exactly.
think the customers will say, do you know what? Fair play, taking the time to think
Hmm.
about us. I know that the Bobby go, but at the same time, in the world we're living in now, communication. has never been as powerful, but also I think we still lack a lot of communication. You know, you've
Hmm.
got social media accounts, you've got all these friends, but how much real
It's not
conversations do
real.
you
Yeah.
having? It's really strange. But
Uh-huh.
if we go back to COVID, you know what? One of the positives, if there was any, that come out of COVID for me was the amount of people you got in touch with. You were video calling, you were
Hmm.
speaking to on a daily basis. That me just personally, you know, and I thought this is amazing, even though you're on a screen. But I was touching base with people I hadn't spoken to in months or
Hmm.
weeks, you know,
Because
and
you
I
had the time.
think
Because that's the trouble. Sometimes you don't have the time to do things like that.
I know, but I mean, I think it's only when life comes at you or something happens, whether it's negative or something horrible, you know, you have to make the time. And even with my dad getting ill last year, you know, suddenly I had all this time because
Hmm.
it was very much important to me to be constantly, um, my priorities had shifted to family,
Hmm.
to making sure I seen my dad every day, being there for my mum and etc. And I think we do make those excuses up where I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm
Hmm.
too busy. When actually you just need to get maybe a wee adjustment on what you're
Yeah.
spending the most time on, if that makes sense. And I'm
Yeah.
talking about I'm literally speaking to myself as I'm saying this because I'm like I have a really good friend of mine and I haven't seen him since Christmas and he keeps ringing me to go for a beer and catch up and I'm like I'm too busy. I'll get back to you next week. And I'm like, oh, you know, and it's like,
It's only probably two or 3 hours of your time as well to do that. Go
oh,
for a drink, you
literally.
know.
Literally, like we normally would just catch up at meet maybe 5:30, 6, and I'll be home for 8 o'clock. Get a bite to eat and maybe a couple of pints, and that's
Hmm.
enough. Good
Yeah.
quality time. You know, it wasn't like younger where you went out and
Oh,
chucked a load of beers,
and
10
days
or
are gone.
11, and there's just no conversation. It's just talking a load of nonsense. But I think it's when you do meet up with friends, it's even more meaningful and it's appreciated. You know, there's good quality um conversation, I suppose.
Yeah. I think that the
And
older you get, you realise that more. That's you got to have
um
time for these kind of things.
very much so, very much so. And it's good to see the brighter mornings and the longer evenings too,
Oh, big
because now
time.
you get that wee bit more time to sort of fit in something. You know, but what does keep you excited? What keeps you pumped? You know, you're in the trade. How many years did you say? 30?
38, 30 in the trade, 38
38?
in the trade,
Well, so
yeah,
you're
and
right, you're out. And how long are you out self-employed?
30,
Aye, 30, that's what it
30
was.
years,
So
yeah.
38 years in the trade. Wow. Like I'm 21 this year.
Hmm.
I mean, wow. So I suppose what keeps it exciting for Gary?
Um, well, obviously I enjoy it. That helps as well because I see too many people who go to work and they don't enjoy what they're doing. So I'm quite lucky. I do enjoy what I'm doing, but I think it's because I just want to get better.
Yeah.
Even at I'm 54-year-old now, but I still want to get better and
Yeah.
do new things. And I think the main thing, especially now, I want to have little challenges,
Yeah.
and things like that. I don't want to just go day to day normal humdrum things. I'm always looking forward to the future to like try different things and do different things and meet different customers and hopefully, like I say, these new innovations come along and try things like that as well. I don't want to like just stay stagnant, if you know what I mean. I just want to keep progressing and get better and better.
I think that's the secret, isn't it? I think the
Uh,
secret to enjoying it and keeping it exciting is putting yourself out there
yeah,
and actively wanting to learn, grow, get better, meet new people. Whereas I think even for me a couple of years ago, I wasn't. I was just going to work and
uh,
I was miserable.
yeah,
And then and it wasn't that I was miserable, it was the type of work that I was doing. It
yeah,
was monotonous. It was
uh,
don't get me wrong, extremely grateful and I'm very appreciative of the work and things, but even my team, you know, new builds,
mm,
one after the other. It was just a big machine.
Hmm.
And one day I just went, you know what? I need to move on. It's time to move on. Um, and I love doing a new build. I love doing sites. It's my bread and it's the
Hmm.
system, the spraying, you name it, and I really enjoy it. But it's nice to do some and then move on to a wallpapering job, move on to something else, keep
Hmm.
it every day's a new day, a new week, a new job.
Yeah,
Whereas what we were doing was, multiple sites running constant,
yeah.
12,
I
14
must admit,
men.
I think I couldn't do that.
Yeah,
Just like the same thing. I think that's why I'm still enjoying it, because we are doing them different things week in, week
yeah.
out, and even though it's the same kind of work, it's different people, different houses, different situations. If you know what I mean, it's
Different
that way.
outcomes.
Yeah,
Different outcomes.
yeah.
The
It keeps you hungry for it and enjoying it.
Well, that's it. Do you do much spraying? Did they say, like you said?
I should do more. I tell you, I did the courses. I spent a fortune on spray gear, and I did get into it. I really need to do more. I've got a T4 at the garage. I've got the HVLP sitting there, and I own a Graco last year, so I've got like 3 spray machines there,
Three
and
sprayers.
I really should do more. But it's in my head, I'm thinking it's all private work. Is it worth getting the spray machine out to spray a ceiling, so type of thing, or should I just get it and get it rolled? I know a lot of lads and girls and decorating traders say, Gary, just get it out, because once you get back in that routine,
Yeah.
you'll start doing it more. It is quicker, it's a better finish and things like that. But I really need to get my finger out and get back into it.
Yeah, but again, it's when it makes sense. It's when it's worth bringing it in. Like this job I'm on, there's no spraying whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I could, but the way it works, when I'm waiting on the first coat roller drying, I can be doing my walls, I can be
Yeah,
working on the woodwork. You just know that system. Whereas,
yeah.
when it comes to spraying, you got to get all the woodwork out of the way, when you're coming up to your
Hmm.
top coat, then you'll get your ceilings out of the way, and then you'll,
Yeah, it's a
whereas this
totally
job
different
here,
system, isn't it?
yeah, it's a full system, but I mean the level of wrapping you do and you don't spray, and I'm like,
Ah, I know.
the
You're
staircase
right.
you
Like
did
it's
recently there, every single tread, and it was
uh
like
that should have
awesome.
been sprayed. That one should have been sprayed. That one.
It's like get that spray right, you
uh,
know. Um, but it's the same old, same old. It's why don't you just use drop sheets?
that's that. That's much. Just we're getting this routine. It's we're
I
especially
think,
we still use dust sheets and drop sheets and things on jobs where maybe it's just going in it in 2 days,
yeah,
or a sitting room. But if we're doing a staircase and we're in that staircase for a while, we'll use the Q1 Pro board on the hard floors downstairs. Then we use the plastic on the stairs to protect all them. Then it's easy for clearing up, and it's
yeah.
everything's well protected. And there's no chance of the customer, if they're going up and down the stairs, tripping on sheets and things, which I'm always worried about.
Yeah, they're lethal on staircase. They really
Uh-huh.
are. It was funny. The first episode I did with David from DM Decor, he asked me, he says, Jared, how come you get all the jobs with nothing in the bedrooms or nothing in the rooms? They're
Uh-huh.
always empty. And of course, this week I arrived and the customer, the bed, you've got all the furniture everywhere. And I was going to
Yeah.
send him a video saying,
Going around the
you've
sides like that.
scudded me. I can't even get my ladders down the side of the bed. But like, it is what it is. You just have to get on with it. But I had the drop sheets out for that. I covered the bed. And like I said, you'll get a lot of pushback online and different things. There's no need to be doing this. There's no need to be doing
Oh,
that.
all the
But
time.
as I always say, it's you use it when it makes sense. I
I get a
can't
lot of
use it.
people. I
Sorry,
get a
go
lot of
ahead.
people
Go ahead.
saying. I get a lot of people saying we go too far with
Yeah,
the masking up, the plastic and things. But
yeah,
I think we get a lot of our work because we do that. The customers respect the fact we go not to that level. to protect their homes, you know what I mean? And they're like impressed, and they'll tell their friends and say, "Oh, Gary's protect everything with plastic and all that." And he's a bit like Dexter, and it's like a crime scene, you know what I mean? He's chucking
Murder
choppers
scene.
up.
I always like, but I'll get other decorators say to me, "Gerard, like, you know, my customers would never pay for that. My customers, if I told them I'm going to spend a
I get a lot
day,
of that.
if I'm going to spend a day masking, they'd freak out." And I says, "But do you have the conversation? Do you say to them, look, you know, I use the floorboard, I use the plastics, the tape and drape, and the reason I do it is X, Y, and Z." You'd be surprised at the amount of customers if you said, "Look, this is going to cost an additional, you know, £50 of masking material to cover the downstairs." They would, I'd say that most likely say absolutely,
But
because
you've got to mention that in the first meeting
of
when
course you do.
when you're like kind of selling yourself to the customer. You mention all the things you're going to do. Like you see, you're going to use all that. You're going to use the dustless sand, and
That's right.
that's it. Then I think when you lay all that down, when they get the price and think, "Oh, that's a bit high," but they'll go and see why it's high.
Yeah. And that's where the social media comes in.
Uh,
That's where your platform, that's where your shop window comes in, because then the customer can say, go online. They've probably done this already, but they'll
yeah.
go
Oh, yeah.
back and they'll do their research.
Yeah.
All being well, if you know, and they'll say, well, look at the way he or she masks the properties, and it's consistent. It's not just a one-off.
One off.
And the
Yeah.
fact that you can see all the sand and you can see all the filling, because ultimately they just want a good job, and you want the opportunity to do the good job and price it correctly to allow you to do your job, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
I
Because you
think
do get like other decorators saying, "Oh, it must cost you a fortune to mask up," and no, it's included in the price.
that's right.
It's in the price, so that it's not as if that's costing me. It's never going to cost me to do it.
No, absolutely. And
It's costing the customer
yeah,
because they're paying for that level of protection. If you know.
if you flip reverse it, if a bit of paint gets on the sofa,
Oh,
if a
that,
cracked tile or the dust in the grout or the grain of the wooden floor,
yeah.
it's saying, "Do you know what? How much is that? How much time will that take to clean? How much time will that take to replace?" When you add it up, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Almost
And
definitely.
there's never been a customer who's ever said, "I don't like the way you protect my house."
No, same here.
It's always,
Uh,
"Wow,
yeah.
this is incredible. I've
But
never seen
they'll get the
anyone."
neighbours in and say, "Come and have a look at this."
I mean, no paint's been done in 3 days, but
Uh,
the place looks great.
definitely.
Takeaways. Um, So we are actually both Dulux Select decorators. I may as
Yeah.
well touch on that. I think I'm in Dulux Select scheme since 2014. Um, uh, I think I left for a year, but I came back.
Uh,
But what does it mean to you, Gary, to be a Dulux Select decorator?
well, I've been a member about 28 years and that now. So again, old school again. I do these things for longevities. Yeah, I mean, the scheme itself, it's when I first joined, and still to this day, it's you're backed. The whole reason for originally joining was so I was different to other decorators.
Yeah.
So I joined that, and I joined the PDA at the same time. Because I want to stand. It's the same now. I want to stand out from other decorators, so people use our services, and that was one of the main reasons for joining. And obviously, over the years, you get to there's a little community of decorators who you bounce off each other, and there's like Facebook groups and things, and all the meetups during the course of the year. Like you've got the awards, and you've got like the social gatherings, the shows and things like that. And it's just nice that way. Plus, like you say, the main obviously it's a USP, it's a selling point as well, because with Dulux Select you can offer a 2-year guarantee.
Yeah.
Which is another little feather in your bow when you're pricing work. You can use that to get work because 2-year guarantee. The other decorator didn't mention anything like that. This lad's like he's offering a 2-year guarantee. That's all good.
It's also the sense of community too. I think for me, I'm like a shadow member, but over here in Northern Ireland. But there's me and
Uh-huh.
myself and Simon Lorimer, I think, are the only two from Northern Ireland, and I think David Robinson also used to be in the scheme. Um, I think, but for me, what attracted me to the scheme was that sense of community, but also being able to look in at the community of decorators that take such pride in their
Hmm.
work and want to stand out for the right reasons. And I think like way back, it's almost all these WhatsApp groups and forums. Like this was started a long time ago.
But it's
The
it's th-
Dulux
again,
Select,
it's 30 years this year.
yeah,
The Dulux
that's
Select is
that's
celebrating 30 years. Uh-huh.
so like 30 years that's been going on, and a group of decorators that from all walks of life, you name it, and I mean you've got some amazing talent from across the UK in it. But what stood out for me in terms of Dulux Select was the assessment.
Yeah,
It's the only one, and you can correct me, I'm not entirely sure, but it was the only scheme that actually you got assessed to join.
yeah. And,
You
and you
just
still
can't,
get regularly assessed
yeah,
now and
you
again as
just
well.
can't say, here's 500 quid and, let me be part of the team. It's
Yeah.
actually, there was a guy, Terence McFay, came out and assessed me over here in Northern Ireland, and he was such a nice man, a gentleman, and he came in and he assessed me, and then he met my customer, and he ended up having a cup of tea with the customer, Richard, and I was so, I wanted everything to be right, perfect, had all the Dulux Select uniform on, or no, it was the Excellence range, I think it was, back in 14, and I looked awesome. And he came out and he went, "Well, it's good news." And I was just so pumped to be a part of something. And
Uh-huh.
it's not that I can obviously get involved a bit more. I can't go to all the events because, well, I
Yeah.
could, but you've all the wee last minute events over there or different events
Yeah.
or meetups where I can't just simply come over. But it's something I I don't use a lot of Dulux paint at all.
Hmm.
Very little, but
Yeah.
it's bigger than that. It's what it stands for, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm like you.
Uh,
I use a mixture of paints. I do use Dulux predominantly,
yeah,
but I use other brands as well because, like I say, I like to use what I think's good for the customer and things like that.
that's right. That's right. And I think even with the Dulux Academy, I think they're doing lots of really good things. And I think,
Oh yeah.
I think it's good to see. I touched on it last week. I think the industry is making a steps in the right direction, but I think there could be more done for grassroots,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
painters, if bypassing, sort of how many views or followers and more, how can we help the people in our industry get better at pricing, get better at products, application,
Yeah.
getting them and becoming a better all-round painter, because ultimately that's all we all want to be, is great at what we do, informed in how to do it, and just have that sense of community to say, I'm struggling here with this
Hmm.
or that, and we'll have someone to fall back on. And I
Yeah. I
think
think
there's
that's
a there's sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Yeah. I think that's why over the last like probably 10 years you're getting all these like decorators forum groups and different like WhatsApp groups and things of like decorators coming together. One of them, I go to trade shows I mentioned earlier to
Yeah,
you, where you're talking to people online and then you actually meet them in person for a
yeah,
day, and it's honestly, I love trade shows. Just like to see, it's just meeting people who you're talking to, and you don't see none of the stalls where the manufacturers are. You're just talking to the decorators all day. It's
yeah.
really really good.
No, I've never been to one. As I said earlier, I'd intended to go to the paint and decorating
Uh-huh.
show, and it was the last one, I
Yeah.
believe. and I couldn't make it just because of work commitments.
Get yourself over to the Trade Decorator Live in Bolton on the 3rd and 4th of June. It's like compared, because the other one was, to me, was a bit too big, but this one, that's got the community feel. It's like I say, it's really good, because obviously you get a lot of people who on the forum go on and who've never met each other, and they meet each other at this trade show, and it's really
Have a
good.
crack.
Yeah, honestly, it's really good.
Well, Danielle got me the tickets. It'll be my birthday on the 4th of June, so it might be a good excuse to
That's
get
it. To have a trip over.
a bit of crack. No, I think we intend to. I think we're gonna go out, try and make it happen. There's plenty of time still. So
I'll be there both. I'll be there both days. I'll buy you a pint.
Oh, good man, good man. So in terms of I mean, you touched on products there. There's so many products now and so
God,
many
yeah.
different options. And I actually had a guy recently, sorry, not recently, last summer-ish. I don't know, summer's just when it's sunny these days. It's not. It's been raining here for the last 4 months straight. But I really like Crown Extreme Exposure exterior paint, and just because it can breathe, and it's really good, and I've always used it. And then another decorator, Eddie, rang me up and said, you know, I really want the best paint. He really likes that paint too, but I really want a better paint, and I want it to be. It's really good customer. And I says, Eddie, I've heard about this stuff. I forget what it was called, Emperor. Maybe I'm not sure what it's called, but another mixed. Is it an Emperor? Is
it? Yeah, I think it might be. It's got a penguin logo.
Something like that. It's something really special, unicorn paint. I don't know what it is, but and I said, like, Eddie, if you've been using something for a long time, you know it works. You're happy with it. You've never had any issues. Why are you starting to doubt yourself? And he says, you know what? You're right. He says, and I just overthought it. And I think even I find myself doing that, where I'm like, I love Scuffex. Scuffex is just
same here.
unbelievable. But when you say to a customer, like, you can have Scuffex for £100, or you can have AquaGuard for half the price, and you show them the two finishes, we know the difference.
Yeah.
We feel the difference when we're spraying it or brushing it, laying it off, hand paint. We know, what paints we like, what paints are a wee bit better than others. But I think because there's so many options now, it's sort of, I find myself going, well, hold on a minute. No, I like that from a ceilings, I like that from a walls, and I like that from a woodwork, and that's it.
You'll occasionally try something else and think, nah, and you go back to what you like. Exterior systems, I've used Dulux Weather Shield system for years, and I've dabbled in other ones, and I've always gone back to the Dulux Weather Shield system. Just I know, because I know, like you said, it works.
Yeah, it works. But I think even whenever you're looking at a product, and then it was actually one of my good customers said to me, Gerard, I know, like, I sold the Scuffex to them, and I was like, this is going to be amazing. You're going to love it. And I had been in the previous year, sprayed up all the woodwork, the ceilings, cut and rolled the walls, and I'd sprayed the woodwork with and the customer just said, I don't really see the difference, Gerard. And I was like, right. And she says, I'm just letting you know, a real good customer of mine. And she said, and, like, the materials were double the price, as you know. And I thought that was really good feedback. And I'm lucky that my customer said that. Now, obviously, when I can, I use it for certain jobs. But I think as a decorator, walking into a job just saying that's what I'm using, I think it could very much price you out sometimes, or you could maybe lose the job.
I think that's when you go, again, like, sell it to them. Like, say, oh, I'm using this Benjamin with Scuffex in your woodwork. It's the bee's knees. It stays white or long or whatever, and it's tough, and it's got this capability, and etc. And right. So It's the
Yeah.
best. So I think when you see it the best, they automatically know it's going to be the most expensive.
No, I just, as I say, it's tough because there's loads, like, I mean, there's loads other different, there's loads of products. Um, but I think for me it's about just keeping it simple and making sure the numbers work for you
Oh
as
yeah.
well, not
Uh-huh.
just selling a product to use it for maybe content, or maybe just to look like you're better because you're using a product, if that
Oh
makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Because we did a job recently where they picked the Benjamin Moore colour for the ceiling, and obviously they're flat paint, whatever it is. It's like 3.75 litres, and it's like £80.
Yeah,
And it's like for us, it took 2 tins for this like ceiling, and it's like you can't justify paying maybe 160, £70 for the paint
yeah,
alone for the ceiling when you could maybe get it mixed in even Dulux for probably less than half that price. You
absolutely.
know?
But I
Yeah.
think even just any decorator or painter, in the trade, it can be, because I did it too. You can get caught up, and then you realize, you know what, I actually maybe lost a bit of money in that because only allowed X amount of
Yeah.
materials.
Uh-huh.
And it's just making sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, and you're using a product that works and works
Yeah.
for you and is the best results for the customer. But also, if you're seeing your materials and you're going at the end of the job going, "Jeez, I allowed £600 for
Yeah.
that," and you're spending nine.
Yeah. What I've started doing now is when I price jobs, I'll ask what paint have you in mind for your walls, because I got stung loads of times where I priced it based on, I handed Dulux colour cards over, and that's met them and things, got the job, got all booked in. We've chose little green, this, and or Farrow and Ball that. I'm like, I've only priced for Dulux. And I'm like, it's like, do you bite the bullet? If it's only a room, you'll maybe,
Yeah.
bite the bullet. If it's mass paints where you're going to lose out on hundreds of pounds, it's like, listen, I've only priced for Dulux, and you're going to have to maybe pay a bit extra.
Oh, I remember back in the day, when I was pricing just started out, and I mean, I had maybe allowed a couple £100, and it ended up being maybe £300 or £400, and the customer just, I don't have it, sure, it's not there, you know, and I think that's all part of the learning really quick
Oh, yeah.
when you're out on your own. But I think, for how running a successful painting business, um, what do you think are the key factors, for anybody thinking like going out on their own? What would you advise them would be before you do make sure, what would you tell them?
First and most importantly, be good at what you do, because you can get a lot of people where they'll maybe do an apprenticeship, then all of a sudden, right, I'm going self-employed.
Yeah,
That's you haven't. You only learn when you finish your apprenticeship and you go working for a firm properly and things like that.
yeah,
You've got to learn your craft before you
yeah,
go it alone. Basically, like I say, I was did my apprenticeship. And I think I was 25 before I went alone, and by then, the thing is, I'm still learning now. But you
yeah,
to go self-employed, you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be good at it, basically, because
yeah,
people's paying you, not paying your boss. They're paying you to do a good job. Another one, you got to be business minded. There's loads of decorators I know out there, great decorators, but they're not business minded.
that's right.
You've got to, end of the day, you run a business, so you've got to run it as a business, effectively, have systems in place and things like that, or you're going to fail. Basically, you're going to lose money and end up just crashing and going working for a firm.
I think that was my biggest lesson was, I loved what I was doing. I thought I was good at it. I was trying to get better and better, making loads of mistakes, but ultimately I wasn't a businessman. And
Uh-huh.
that's where I was getting caught out, my numbers and my figures, and wondering why I was doing maybe 50, 60 hours a week
Mm-hmm.
and not seeing my wife or my wee kids or something, and you're just like, why am I doing this? Why is this so difficult? But actually
Mm-hmm.
it was because I wasn't I wasn't running a business. I was
Yeah.
going to make a wage. And it was only until I changed that mindset of, right, let's get down to the numbers and let's work
Yeah.
out where my money's going, not trying to find up, sorry, making sure I knew where my money was going, not
Yeah.
working out where it had gone and trying to figure out where I was wasting, where I could have
But you could save and things like that.
a bit leaner,
Uh-huh.
but biggest what would have been your biggest lesson? I'm sure you've plenty, but what was the key thing for you, maybe in your early career that you went, hold on a minute, this isn't right, or something that could maybe benefit somebody um
Um,
that that's maybe struggling or find it tough?
yeah, don't become complacent. I went through a phase where I was quite lucky. All the work was coming to me. I wasn't advertising and things, and I was never planning ahead because it was that coming all the time. I think it 2009, the recession.
Yeah,
I think it was. I
2008,
think I think
2009.
in the summer, I just bought a brand new van, a brand new car, um, booked holidays and things. Then I think the September the phone just stopped ringing, and it was like, whoa. I didn't have a plan in place to,
Yeah,
because I was that used to work. You see, I think there's again, that's where comes the business mindset where you've always got to plan ahead for every eventuality
that's
in
right.
case something just stop, or you, for instance, if you got a big job coming up and that it doesn't come off, what are you going to do? Always have a backup plan. But I didn't. That was the biggest learning curve because honestly, it was the most worrying time in my life. Like I say, I had like a van on tick, a car on tick, and I had no work coming in. I had one employee at the time. He went. Luckily, he said, "Oh, Gary, just." He was an older fella. And he had a few quid in the bank. He said, "Gary, just give us a ring when you're back on your feet again."
Yeah,
And I think I think it was early December. It was to the February. I literally had no work, and that hit home. And I've always remembered that. So just don't expect everything to be rosy all the time because it just takes one thing and it'll knock you on your backside. So
it's just preparedness.
uh
I
that's
think
that's what I wasn't.
that's a really good quality. I think that's one of the things is just having that preparedness. You know, things might be great, but when they're great, look out, and being prepared for all eventualities. It's not where you're sitting going, it's
Uh
about, look, we're into maybe August time. Let's start thinking about filling the books for January, getting those
Yeah,
works put off to after
you,
Christmas
you got to you
time,
got to plan ahead constantly. I
always,
mean,
and making
uh,
sure you're doing things to suit your business and
yeah,
suit you instead of getting to November and going, oh, here, look, I need work, you
uh
know. And I've seen a lot of it was huge in December, January time, It was a lot of talk about it at the time within the community, about jobs being cancelled, about,
Oh, I've seen a lot of that.
struggling,
Yeah.
loads of it. And even myself last September I had a 2 week job cancelled. Um, and that was a shock for me
Yeah.
because I'd say in the last 10 years, that's That's never happened. A,
Do
a
you
two
take
week
do you take
and
deposits at all?
yeah, yeah, yeah. We've
Yeah,
we've
that's also good. So I found
we
that reduces the risk of being cancelled if you take a deposit.
yeah. The customer had some circumstances. Do you keep the deposit? No. I just gave them it back.
Uh-huh.
Um, Look, it was a big enough deposit. Would I feel right keeping that? No, just because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's
Mhm.
different if it's there's something not right. You know
Yeah.
yourself. Hold on a wee minute, but
You know for a fact of getting another decorator who
yeah,
can do
I
it sooner.
mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, we're all human. Life happens, but uh, it's crucial. I talk about it all the time in my own wee academy group about terms and conditions,
hmm
pricing, your deposits, communication. But ultimately, um, it's for me, it's not taking things for granted. And
hmm
when you talk about, the phone stopped ringing and complacency, like I remember in um 2023, one of our biggest years, I was miserable, just miserable
Hmm.
because it just became, right, that's the way it is now. The guys are telling me to get off the tools and not needed. Right, okay, and I was like, I remember sitting in the kitchen, Danielle going, "What's wrong?" And I'm miserable. Like I love being on the tools,
Hmm.
and I know there's a lot of guys and girls out there that are like. I was talking to guy Julian this evening on the way home. He isn't on the tools, and I've met loads of amazing business owners that very much are not on the tools,
Hmm.
and that works for them. But I like being on the tools.
I'm exactly the same.
I love getting stuck in, and anyone who's worked with me just knows that I'm just let's get at it, let's get the
Hmm.
tunes on, or just I love listening to audiobooks or
Yeah.
podcasts, and just I like working and still maybe listen to a book and learning from it too.
Hmm.
Especially you can only listen to so much radio, and
That's it.
adverts
I'm the
and
same.
different
I don't need
things.
to half a day radio, half a day podcast or
That's
book.
it. A wee bit of music, a wee bit of listening to the likes of the books and podcasts. But um, talk me through that job you done recently with the ceiling, Gary. How the hell did you get through that?
Oh, the attic ceiling. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Again, that was like one of the ones where you're sitting for like 2 hours thinking, right, that's going to go that way. How's that going to? Because there was it wasn't a stripe as such, but there was like a lines in it, so
yeah,
everything had to like marry up. Because obviously, I had walls like it's attic basically. If anybody saw me socials, it's a big attic ceiling where it went the side bits like that, and it went up to a peak like that. So the paper obviously come up from the side up the ceiling, the first slope, then to there. But you couldn't take the paper down there because upside down. So you got to bring the paper up that way, but the lines knocked out slightly. So I had to like, again, that was like an hour just thinking how am I going to do this. So I had to bring the other ones up just slightly to the side, but obviously it didn't match. So at least the lines matched up, but the pattern didn't at that point,
yeah.
that corner. So we had what I call paper manipulation. It's like basically I was cutting bits of the flowers out and wrapping them, like sticking them over the top and like wrapping them around that corner so look as though the paper did flow through. And I do that and loads of that. That took hours and hours to do things like that. And there was a section where there was a big between the two rooms, there was like a big bulk. And obviously when you took the paper from one side round under, there was no way you could match up the back. So it was again like manipulating the paper to look as though it did by splicing and
Oh,
or yeah.
it was pure class, absolutely pure class. I'm laughing because we did one there last year, and I generally will wallpaper on my own most of the time. Um, a big achievement for me, I did a large, big curved Holsters and Landing down in,
Mhm.
I forget what it was, but same thing, you're manipulating the paper, you're
Yeah,
splicing it into
yeah,
itself to bring it round and keep the
yeah,
plumb line.
yeah,
Because yeah, you might get it round the corner, but the paper's maybe
yeah. It's
not
like
quite
that.
like this.
Uh-huh.
So you're splicing in between it and manipulating it and making sure you get your plumb. But I mean, it was on scaffold. It
No.
took me ages, but you're able to just step back and go, wow,
Yeah.
and I think it was some length of paper, and then even
Uh-huh.
there was that 5 meter drop last year as well. And Garcia, who works for me, we had the scaffold up, and it was pasted papers and Arte. And I mean, do you want to see the weight of this thing? I mean, it was all folded up, and I was going up the scaffold, and I'm up at the very top, and the way the media unit had been built out, um, the scaffold had to go obviously in front of it, but there
Hmm.
was no like I was stretched over. It was not. It was safe, but it wasn't really that safe. But anyway, Garcia was sort of the idea was he was holding the weight because you can imagine like, holding a
Oh
small
Christ, I full of
body.
paste. Uh-huh.
So I started off and I was holding it, and then I went to pass it down to Garcia, and then Garcia, we got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you ever see the episode of the? Oh, you have. Only Fools with the
Yeah.
chandelier.
Aye.
The next thing I know, all I hear is bang, the weight of this hitting the floor. He didn't have it at all. I
Uh-huh.
thought he had it. I mean, there's the bang, the weight of that thing, and he just got on me, looked up at me, was like, "Sorry, boss," and I was like mistakes happen. Luckily, it survived. It was okay.
Uh-huh.
It was just a real good, strong paper, as you know. But um, I mean, the crack. I remember even when I first started out, one of my first wallpapering jobs. It wasn't really well planned out. It was a feature wall with a fireplace on it, and I'd centered it, but I'd let myself like this slither around this ornate
Oh.
fireplace. And I was only like a cub, like I was only a young lad, and the customer would come in and it goes, "Sure, do you want a wee cup of tea or coffee?" And I says, "Okay." And I'm working away at this sweat coming off me, and I'm holding it and I'm trying to cut literally this wee slither. And at the time, I didn't think to use like a filling blade to keep that pressure, and keep it in
Uh-huh.
place. I was using just a smoothing tool, and the customer went and came back in with a wee tray and the wee biscuits and all over, and she says, "Sure, is that the way you do that?" I says, "Oh, 100%. I'm just getting that real nice cut." Of course, the other half had already ripped off. I'm sitting working. I hadn't even noticed that the bottom half of the paper had ripped off, and I'm sitting concentrating on this wee bit of
It's
paper.
gone.
But what did you do? I just said, "Look, I'll just have to start that strip again," and of course it was discontinued,
Oh.
and there was none left. And I said, "Look, you just got to bite the bullet." I says, "Look, we'll have to get you a new paper and
Yeah.
start again and refund you and sort it out." But luckily, like an absolute
The
gem, and
thing is, mistakes happen. They happen all the
oh,
time.
the stories, the absolute stories you have. But what's your biggest win of 2025? Um, Gary, I always ask everybody that comes on, what was your biggest win for you?
Biggest win. Ooh. It's a tricky one, that.
Doesn't need to be work personally, a personal goal. What
Personally,
did something you
um,
achieved that you were proud of
I
yourself?
spoke in public for the first time.
Awesome.
That was a big one for me. It was only in front of 20 people, but it was like something I'd wanted to do for a while and I've never done. I mean, it's okay. People say, "Oh, Gary, you're dead confident because you're doing videos to yourself in a room by yourself." It's easy. It's not easy because you've
Yeah,
probably done it 20 times before you got the right one.
yeah, yeah,
But speaking in front of public and talking about something it was just about myself, like my business, like we are
yeah,
now.
yeah,
But obviously, it's different just standing alone in front of
yeah,
people doing it, and I got a real buzz out of that. It's something I want to do. Like again, out my comfort zone. I like
yeah.
doing things now that's out my comfort zone. Because at the Bolton show this year, I'm doing a talk,
Brilliant,
hopefully in front of more people.
brilliant. Brilliant.
So that's again yeah.
Getting comfortable with uncomfortable.
Uh-huh. Yeah, just I think all you start again. I mentioned earlier about having these little goals in life, and that
Absolutely.
was one of them. Like speaking in public and just basically being more confident.
Well, I think, look at what you've achieved, and also it's getting the opportunity to tell that story and help others and talk about that journey. And,
I think that's
for
where I'm at
me,
now.
yeah, you'd said to me earlier about you wanted a big thing for you now is giving back.
Uh,
But why is that? Why now? Or I know you've been doing it probably. I mean, you're also on the panel for the Dulux Select. You
yeah.
you do you do a lot of stuff. It's quite incredible. But why are you so passionate now about giving back?
It's like you said earlier, where obviously the younger people are coming through, and if I can give just a little bit of knowledge to them, that makes me happy.
Yeah,
I know it's a bit cliche, but it's true. I see I'm probably heading toward. I don't like to say the end of my career because I've still got quite a few years left, But if I can pass some knowledge that I've gained over them years, that'll stop them making mistakes or gives them a little bit of incentive. It makes me like just nice, really. It's hard
It's
to
just the
explain.
it's just that mindset. It's not just the decorating. It's the mindset. It's the package itself. It's the let's get up and get at it. Let's
Yeah,
go to work and let's keep our lit, as I would say. But I find that, talking about not just the good, but also the real life,
yeah,
what it actually takes to be a painting and decorating business owner. And you and I both know, I'm sure, you'll maybe speak to somebody that maybe uplifts you, and also
yeah,
someone will message you and say, "Do you know what? You really helped me,
yeah.
and you've gave me that wee boost to keep going, or to learn wallpapering, or to learn spraying,
Hmm.
or to maybe take somebody on as an employee."
And in
And
respect of that, you get that little boost because they've said that.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And I still, again, that's what started behind the brush, is where I get that boost speaking to other decorators, that the learning about their, day and dailies, learning about their story, and, getting that wee bit of, okay, let's go, and just, realizing that we've a lot in common in general.
Hmm.
Like anyone doing this job, you know, you enjoy it, you're out there doing it, and you are the industry. I mean,
Hmm.
every single person is part of that machine, and
Yeah,
it's making sure we're doing, I suppose, our bit. For me,
yeah,
that's how I feel. I feel
yeah,
like I want to do my bit. I want to help leave the industry that little bit better in some way, shape, or
yeah.
form, whether it be helping somebody upskill, maybe having a conversation with somebody online, somebody reaching out about
Just a
advice,
simple
and
problem.
yeah, in
Yeah.
terms of advice on how to do something. And you do get those dinosaurs, I would say, that would say, well, you're telling everybody the secrets.
Uh-huh.
Why are you helping someone? That's your
I get
competition.
that all the time when I'm doing the tutorial videos, like
Yep.
wallpaper and things. I get people say, why are you telling people to do this?" But if I had to start doing at the beginning of a reel or a video, I've had to say, "This is aimed at young people coming through, or people just starting a decorating journey." I shouldn't have to do that, but I have to try and shut people up,
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, you're doing why are you doing that?" And are you doing that wrong? I'm just trying to teach somebody a way of doing something.
But then you think to yourself, well, how did you learn?
Uh-huh.
Somebody taught you. You
Yeah.
know, it's just I think it's just mindset. I think the more you help, the more you get back. That's just
Yeah.
the way I
I,
think. I
I
think
I really enjoy it now. Like I say, making the
yeah.
little videos and things and the feedback. If I do a video, I help maybe it's one person. I'm buzzing.
But also, not everybody wants a decorator.
No, this
A lot of
exactly.
people actually, and I did the Love Your Home show at the weekend, and the amount of people that come up to me that love doing their own decorating.
Hmm.
And when you're doing the demos, you have 30 minutes to do a wallpapering demo, 30 minutes to do a painting demo. And it's showing them, we things that we do as decorators, the protection, some preparation, we tips that make life easier, using a light to
Hmm.
fill, the type of filler, the type of sandpaper, type of sleeve, just wee practical tips. And then, I'd say to them, if you want anything at all, come up at the end of it and we'll have a chat. I mean, there's queue of people. And what did you use there? And what's that stuff called? And you're trying to help, and to
But they're
love to
interested. It's good, isn't it? The fact they're interested in
absolutely.
what you've got to
And
say.
they've never heard of some of the stuff we've been using for years. And again, when you talk to people, they enjoy it, and that's also good too. I think it's half the time it's just knowing how to approach something, and knowing how and what tools you maybe need.
Yeah.
And it's just those wee simple tips, and just that advice that can make somebody's day, that
Hmm.
love, they've struggled with wallpaper before, or they've struggled with painting, and suddenly it's just life's made that a little
That
bit
little one
easier.
little gem.
Aye, 100%. So 2026, what's your goal for 2026? What's the big one?
Obviously, I'm going to celebrate somehow. I'm not sure yet. About 30 years in business,
Brilliant.
because that's around June time, I think.
Oh, excellent.
But I plan on and maybe entering a few awards this year, because I know the Trade Decorators got an awards later this year in November, and I'll probably enter maybe the Dulux Select Awards as well. Just try and mark something for this year,
Yeah,
and
class.
obviously business wise, just get better.
Brilliant. And what would you say to someone? Why are awards important to you? I suppose in terms of if someone was saying to me, there's an awards there, or I'd say to somebody, you're going to enter the award, load of nonsense. It's why is it important to you personally to do that?
Um, I think it's acknowledgement of
Yeah.
what you do, I suppose. I think I won my first one back in 2019, I think it was, on the tools. And I won PDA one, then Dulux Select and things like after that. And you get I don't know, just not everybody's the same. Some people's like, oh, it's just a taking part. But if you enter a competition, you want to win it.
Oh, you
That's
want to
just my
win?
that's my mentality. So it's part of that as well. But I think mainly it's the acknowledgement of other people appreciation, like what you do. Or if you enter like a certain room that you've done, somebody's acknowledged that is the best of that range, and you've done a really good job of it. And it's
Yeah.
just it's just like acknowledgement. I think that's you did a really really good job.
Funny, I entered the On the Tools Paint and Decorating Awards, Gary. I think it was in 2021, and I think you went on to win it that year. So
No, mine was 2019.
was it 2019? It must have
Mm-hmm,
been
mm-hmm,
2019
mm-hmm.
because I entered. Danielle entered it for me, and that's where you stood out to me. Originally, the very first time I sort of got to know, the name, the brand, and you went on to win it that year. So that's the connection in terms of myself. It was the
Uh-huh.
On the Tools painting the deck. You wouldn't have known me or anything, but it was just a year. I wasn't in the finalists or anything. It was just I was nominated. I think there used to be a stage, or you went through to the next stage. So now it's different, I think.
Yeah, there was like different. Yeah, it's
That's
changed
right.
since the back then. Uh-huh.
But no, I think it's awesome, and I think it's great to have someone like yourself in the industry doing what you're doing, whether it be tutorials or showcasing that level of professionalism, and it's very much I appreciate it as a fellow decorator, and I think that's a nice way to end the show or the
Yeah,
episode.
I appreciate you saying that.
But is there anything further you want to add or share yourself before we
Um,
wrap things up?
Not really. Just like I say, me plans, my business wise, obviously get better, and obviously up my socials. I might do some kind of. I planned on myself years ago doing like a podcast, but I think there's quite a few now, so I might not do that. I might do like a YouTube channel. That
No.
do you know all my little trainings? Like put
Yeah.
them in little categories and things, so people can
Yeah.
like, oh, that's wallpaper, and that's maybe business advice and things like that. But I might do some kind of, I don't know, like not a podcast as such, like a little magazine show type thing. But it's time. I do loads of it anyway.
I think that's it. Like for me, it's this. I don't like calling it a podcast because it's just
Uh-huh.
for me. It's like a wee series. It's like a
Yeah,
hobby, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much. It's like I just
that's it.
said to myself, right,
Keep it as a hobby. Uh-huh.
it's like, right, okay, every Thursday night, I know I can commit an hour, 2 hours to just sit down. And for me, this is like therapy. I get to just
Hmm.
chill out, have a chat, let my customers learn a wee bit more about me whilst learning about another fellow decorator from the UK and Ireland, and having the crack and just talking about real life. And when you said about the podcast, I think people connect to people, and it doesn't matter if there's 1,000 podcasts. I think
Hmm.
you know, go for it. And you say, I think you'd said about your YouTube channel before. I mean, wow. I
Uh,
mean, get it ripping. Let's go.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, because I've got loads. My phone's got like 10,000 photographs and videos on
with the
all up over
four
the years.
phones.
Yeah,
It's
so I've got
that's
plenty of
it.
content for it.
100%. And it's just as you say, time. But I think you can stretch
Yeah,
yourself too thin, and you can just be putting stuff up for. I
I don't want
think
to do that. Yeah,
just for the crack, or just to put stuff up to get noise and to just get attention of some description. But for me personally, I like to try and share stuff that helps people and that
yeah,
is part of my story. It's not talking about anyone else's story. It's stuff that I've lived through. I'm continuing to live through. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly actively wanting to be a better all around decorator, business owner, husband, friend, you name it. And
hmm
it's just that journey of it's easy to look at somebody and go, oh, that must be easy. Oh, he's doing really well, or he's successful, or he's got it sussed. But it's not always the
no,
case. And I think it's so important to share that journey, to share the stories, to share as an industry so that
yeah,
maybe through the good and the bad, the crack,
yeah. I mean, I'm
it's
still learning
known.
myself, like I said earlier. I like listening to other decorators to find out what they've got to say, because I want to learn from them, like you said.
Absolutely, and it's just knowing, you're not the only one, and sometimes it literally is just having an ear to listen into, or as I say, speaking to another decorator, you maybe struggled with a wallpaper, or struggled with a customer or a job,
Mhm.
and just having that chat that just changes the whole outlook,
Mhm.
or the perspective of you maybe in your head are giving yourself a hard time, but it's maybe not the end of the world, and you're doing a lot
Mhm.
better than what you think.
Yeah.
Um so look, it's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate your time,
Well,
honest to
thanks for
God,
having us.
and especially on a Thursday evening. You probably got loads of other things to be up to. But
Yeah,
look,
I've
I
got
look,
paperwork all over.
I look forward to definitely catching up with you at the Trade Decorating Show. I'm now
Yeah,
Daniel, as I say, has the tickets. Just need to book the flights and the accommodation. And it's actually going to be my birthday on the 4th, so
yeah.
that'll be my
I'll
birthday
buy you a
present.
birthday pint.
Ah, good man. Gary, anyone that's follow along on Gary's socials, Gary, just want to mention that maybe just so people know where you're
Yeah,
at.
Instagram, Dulux Select, Wallpaper Wizard UK, and Diary of a Decorator, which is on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Basically, if you search Gary Marsh Decorator, it'll pop up.
He's everywhere. His stuff is absolutely first class, top drawer. And everyone, thank you very much for tuning in again. It's always a pleasure. Next week we've Andrew Mackey on from Dublin, who I'm really looking forward to having on and learning about and his journey and story so far. Um, as always, this is all about the community, bringing us all together, maybe learning something, maybe finding something helpful, and together we're always better, stronger, and let's keep her lit. So thank you very much, everyone. Gary, thank you, and I will
Thank you.
catch up with you soon. Appreciate it.
Cheers.